I'm Elbra Jones. Welcome to Men on the Main Line. Today we're going to focus on solutions to problems people are facing in these stressful pandemic times. On the main line, we have seen incidents of domestic violence rise. Whether it's Ardmore, Lower Merion, or Wayne Radnor, unfortunately, many people are feeling stress and they are taking it out on their significant others. But Andrew Gardner is the creator of a program called For Brothers Like Me, which aims to be part of the solution. We're going to learn about that program, we're going to learn about him, and we're going to learn ways we can also be part of the solution on the main line. I want to introduce him. He is here with us in the studio, and I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
You're absolutely welcome. Anything that can give our community more information about helping one another, increasing compassion, and making us supportive of one another is welcome and important to share. Now, you're part of a growing chorus of voices addressing this problem. Domestic violence, depression among men, and just being constructive partners for one another has been talked about by Will Smith in his new book, Will, Charlemagne the God, and others. And I want to ask you, in terms of what you have learned about the value of talk therapy in your own experience, what would you say the value is for men in terms of talking through things, getting talk therapy, and confronting some of their problems with words?
I would say talk therapy is actually good because it helps you to look at the world from a different perspective within your own. So just learning how to view the world different in the way you view it, it'll help you to deal with problems in a different way because you'll understand it from a different perspective other than yours. So for me, when I was going to therapy, it actually helped a lot because I was able to just view the world because I was kind of stubborn, I didn't want, to look at the world.
Like many men.
Yeah. So it's kind of my expectations for everybody was always high, but knowing, they say the cup is half empty, half full technique, it works. So
in terms of your own background in this field, tell us a little bit about how you have come to the anger management skills that you have and how you've come to become in this world of specialists who help men help themselves.
Well, just being a person who been born into domestic violence and just being around anger for majority of my childhood and just carrying that burden with me into my adulthood and just causing the problems of life for me, just messing up relationships and, causing me to in and out of jail. It was just time for me to get help. And it's something that, as far as I can remember growing up, it wasn't available in our communities. It wasn't talked about. Domestic violence wasn't talked about. Anger management wasn't talked about. So I think for me, if I had that outlet coming up, maybe the choices I made in life would have been a lot different. So I wanted to do my part to help the generation coming up behind me, even the generation now, or the generation ahead of me, put these things on the forefront. Let's talk about anger management. Let's talk about domestic violence. Let's get to the root of it and help each other to be better leaders and examples.
Excellent. In terms of your training, so how did you become an anger management specialist and what is your background in the field?
I got certified through the National Anger Management Association, anger management and domestic violence. I was saying just me wanting to do more and learn about it, to go in depth, with my story and, being a victim of domestic violence growing up and then later on in life becoming an abuser. So I just wanted to dig deep into it. And so I started the foundation of Brothers Like Me to just help people in our community because I'm transparent. I share my story. I put it out there. I have no shame in my story. It happens. I made mistakes. I learned from them, and now I'm trying to do better. And I just want to show people that you can do the same. making a mistake doesn't make you a bad person. Is when you keep making them same mistakes over and over and justifying them. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes you a bad person.
So let's get some basic facts out there. What is, For Brothers Like Me, what is the organization?
It's an organization that deals with anger management for men of color, young men, adolescents. We deal with domestic violence, and we use techniques, because I have a theater background. I have a degree in theater that I got from Delaware County Community College. And so I combine all that with the teachings that I have to really get you to see how you can work through your anger. Because, from my experience, just me kind of like talking about it, it does justice, but you actually seeing it and witness it and being a part and get to interact with some of the techniques I do, far as like improv, where you get to, be a character, and the other person be a character, and then y'all have conflict, and then we could pause it, and then we can add the tools to de-escalate the conflict to help you have a healthy conversation. It's dope. It's cool.
I know it is cool because you were generous enough to allow me to be part of one of your videos, and so we're going to take a look at helping you deal with anger. It's not just in relationships or at home where these conflicts can happen. Some of the skills that you're teaching people might relate to them at work. So you have a video also that shows an employee and his boss having a conflict. What's that video about, and what does that show, which you then deconstruct?
That video is just basically the introduction to what Brothers Like Me do as a whole, far as like the anger management side of it, where you can let your anger get the best of you in a minute and just ruin everything you worked hard for. Mm. And you don't think about the consequences of your anger.
Okay.
So I use that because it's real life. People have got mad at their boss and blew up and don't think about it. Now they can't work or lose their job, and worst case scenario, presses are charged, and now they gotta go to jail, do some jail court time, whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just use that, so you won't reach that point. And, we do give you the tools to work through your emotional intelligence.
We're gonna look at that clip.
Hey, I'm Andrew Gardner, founder and president of Brothers Like Me. Are you a person who struggles to communicate their feelings when faced with a little adversity, like this brother right here?
Thanks so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, I've got to let you know some bad news. Because of COVID and everything, we've got to cut your hours back.
How many are we talking, man?
It's going to be about half your time.
Half?
When things resume, then maybe we can get those hours back up.
What the hell, man? Like your best working, man. I need my hours, man.
I know.
Get that out here, man.
Watch your language, If you're going to talk like that, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
You brought me in here and cut my hours, and you trying to tell me what to do, like back and forth, man? You know what, man?
You. Hey, that gets you fired. Now you got no hours. How about that?
No, I'm going to show you no hours. I'm going to show you fire.
Get away.
See, at Brothers Like Me, we give you the tools to fix the cracks in your wall, so your anger won't break through, causing damage that you just witnessed. We help you to better communicate your feelings and not use anger as a go-to emotion.
Some of the activities you do in your workshops help people to see themselves, hear themselves, and reflect. And what I'm hearing you say is, oftentimes people are influenced by friends. Oftentimes people are influenced by what is posted as opposed to what they're thinking themselves, or as opposed to talking directly with the person they're involved with. Is that where you're getting at?
That's some of it. So it's like, and then it takes away. So if, let's say you're on a date, and a lot of people do that. You're on a date. You're not really engaging with the person. You're busy like posting pictures like, hey, look at me, take a selfie, I'm on a date. Look what I'm eating, or look what they, so it's kind of that part takes away from it. And then some people want the illusion of actually being in a relationship, but they don't want to put the work in. They just want to post the pictures and do stuff like that. So that's why I think like social media plays a major part in like people relationships, and you have to be like secure in like what you want and understanding, because I don't want to. So like some celebrities, because I know like growing up.
What? Give me the example. You saw who growing up doing what?
So Will and Jada.
Will and Jada.
That was the
We're
goal.
in Philly.
Yeah, we're in Philly. That was the goal for a lot of people. Like, oh, I want that Will and Jada love.
Well, describe the part that you're saying was the goal.
Was like, all right, so you know, they saw the outside view. They didn't
Which
see the
looked like what?
This looked like love. Oh, I'm madly in love with Will and madly in love with Jada. And I'm not saying that's not the case because I don't know them personally. Right. But they already saw the good side. But now, as time goes on, you hear, the stories coming out of, their marriage and
being more difficult.
Being more difficult than
it seemed.
It seemed. So now a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know, I don't want that. But I'm like, that's part of a marriage, though. You have to, our relationship, you got to put the work in. Everything is not, it's good all the time. So,
in terms of the fact that that's how relationships are, not just today, but from what you're saying, that's the nature of relationships. How do you help men in your workshops deal with discomfort, anger, feelings of rejection? What are some of the things that you help men do in your workshops so that they are confronting some of these difficult feelings and then maybe recognizing, naming, and working through some of those feelings?
Yeah, I help men by, just identifying their emotions, because as men, our go-to emotions 9 times out of 10 is always anger. And that's not the case. We could be sad, we could be embarrassed, or whatever the case may be. It don't have to be anger. But when you mask it with anger and you use anger, as your go-to emotion, you don't get to the root of your problem. So let's say you are in a relationship and, your girlfriend hurt your feelings. And instead of say, hey, babe, like, you hurt my feelings when you say that. Instead, you get angry and you start yelling at her like, why would you say that? And now she's going to be on the defensive, and then she's going to come back at you, and you ain't going to never like get to the root of it. It's just going to be an ongoing thing. So, I just teach men to identify their emotions, the correct emotion, and use it and not be embarrassed of it, because it's all right. It's all right to be sad. It's all right to cry as a man, so it's trying to get them out that mindset, like real men don't cry. No, real men do cry.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one of the things that you also teach men is that real men fight fair. Arguments are going to happen, as you said, but there's a way to do it. What are some of the ideas around fair fighting tactics that you have and that you share with others?
So just a big part of communication is, you have to listen to understand rather just to respond. So you hear the person, hear what they're saying, and really pay attention to it. And then, it's content. So content is what they're saying, okay. And then it's the process. The process is how they're saying it.
Interesting.
So if you focus like on the process, you can get the emotion. Because I'll give you an example. So I could say, this the content. Man, you get on my nerves. So your process, like, oh, he playing. Did the same thing, content. Man, you get on my nerves. And then your process, like, oh, I really get on his nerves. I'm angry. So it's kind of like you focus on the process. And that'll take you from kind of jumping the gun and just focus on the get on your nerves part. So you just want to hear the person out, and then you want to respond. And it's vice versa, instead of trying to hit below the belt and everything, because that's not how communication works. It's just, you want to look the person in the eye, talk at a good tone, and just give the person time to respond. And if y'all both talking and y'all can't get to a point where it's not working out, that's when you have to come to an agreement and say, hey, let's take a time out and let's come back at this time. Y'all both agree on the time to revisit the conversation and go through it. Like, don't force the other person. Like, no, you want to sit here and talk
right now.
Yeah, right. No, don't do that. That's bad.
I really like how you use innovative techniques to get people to see themselves, hear themselves, see the techniques, and then employ the techniques. And so we're actually going to look at one of the videos that you created where fair fighting tactics are demonstrated. Also, though, at the beginning of the video, you show a couple not fighting fair. Talk a little bit about why you think it's important in a workshop setting where men who might have been batterers are trying to learn, but you want them to see how they look when they're behaving negatively, in addition to seeing how they could look acting constructively. Why did you decide to have that theatrical approach, that video before working things out improvisationally in the workshops?
Simple. Seeing is believing. So if you see it, because a lot of people don't see themselves, as that's not me. I don't look like that. That ain't how and it's like, no. So if you get to see it and you're like, oh, all right, well, maybe it is some truth there, so that's why I chose to do it. And like I stated earlier, I choose topics that I know couples argue about, or, if we're in a workshop and you might have a conflict interest, we could use that. And then we can, improv it and then have, you do it. And then I could tell you where you went wrong at, and then incorporate the right steps to take, and then we could fix it.
So in the workshops, you're not lecturing. It's not you standing at a podium like a professor talking for an hour to men. They're actually getting to talk with you, see videos, talk about what they see in the videos, and then practice some things. It's very interactive. Is that right?
Correct. So in this video, we have two actors, and I wrote the script where they're arguing over a PS5. And the reason why I use like the PS5 because it's actually a hot topic in the community. Like everybody's trying to get one. So, and that's another thing I try to incorporate. I incorporate real life scenarios that people argue about. That's kind of from my experience and then from other people's experience that I hear. Now back to the video. So it'll show them arguing first. He's trying to get his point across. She's trying to get her point across, but he's not listening. She's not listening. At the end of the day, they both want what they want. And, they say harsh words, they hit below the belt, and it escalates to a place where it don't need to go.
Now, relationships are hard, whether it relates to being in love or dating, whether you're having an argument with someone over a gaming system, or whether you're being ghosted or rejected. What are men telling you about their good and bad relationships nowadays? What is being in a relationship like today? What are you hearing men and couples say that is a list of kinds of things they're experiencing?
I hear a lot about relationships. So I would say like for today, it's easy and it's hard at the same time. I say it's easy because of social media. It gives you access to a lot of people. So, you have the courage to, if you see that young lady you like or that young man, you could just slide in their DM or like a few of their pictures to try to get their attention. That is the good part about it. Now, the bad part about it is everybody has a voice. Everybody has access. So if you're not comfortable with who you are as a person or what you want in a relationship, your relationship can easily get influenced by social media and other people's voices and opinions on how a relationship is supposed to be in their eyes instead of the way you think a relationship is supposed to be. Because you'd be like, oh, well, such and such, they do this. Why we don't do this? And it's just like, and it causes conflict. So you would have to be like comfortable in, who you are and what you want and understand that and have the self-awareness to have that. So, where a lot of men talk to me about relationships, that is the problem that they tend to have with their significant others is the kind of the influence And I'm not putting it all on the women, because women come to me to problems too, where their men is on social media, liking other female pictures and commenting and stuff like that. So it can be like good and it could be bad. It's how you use it and you know, and how secure you are within yourself in your relationship.
Lamar, I really can't believe you went out and spent all this money on a PS5. Knowing how tight our budget is, knowing the rent is due, knowing that both of our jobs got cut, the hours. This is stupid.
That's why don't call me stupid. And besides, the only reason I went out and brought it is because we both been working all year long and don't have nothing to show for it. So why not treat ourselves? Well, treat myself. Like, damn.
First of all, I didn't call you stupid. I said this was stupid. Stupid.
See, stop calling me stupid. And besides, did I call you stupid when you went out last month and got your hair and nails done and got caught in the rain?
Wait.
Yeah,
Hold
that was
up.
stupid.
Second, yeah, I did get my hair and nails done, but it ain't cost nearly as much as that damn PS5. And I ain't been getting my nails done since, at all. Shh, don't talk about you just being so stupid.
Hey, yo, stop disrespecting me, yo. Like, for real, like, please stop disrespecting
I'm talking about you always up to something. We wouldn't even be in this situation if he was a real man like my ex Anthony.
me. What
Now
you
you over
say?
there sitting there playing games like a little boy.
No, say that again. Right, about the...
No, you hurt me.
About the ex-Anthony part. What'd you say?
If you was a real man like that.
Oh, see what happened? That's the fear, fright, and don'ts. Do not insult, do not belittle, do not hit, push, choke. Never, ever do that. Now, he's in the fight or flight mode. He's thinking out his primitive brain. You never want to be in your primitive brain when you're dealing with conflict. Now, we're going to rewind and we're going to start over and we're going to do the fear, fight, and do's and watch how our argument turns to a healthy conversation.
Listen, babe. I really can't believe you went out and bought the PS5.
Come on.
You know we're on a tight budget. You know the rent is due. You know both of our hours got cut at both of our jobs. Like, you weren't thinking.
Come on, babe, don't... You know what, you're right. I wasn't thinking. I just figured that I've been working all year long. I just ain't got nothing to show for it. So I just wanted to treat myself. But you're right.
You know what? So are you. You have been working really hard, you know, to take care of everything. But do you really think we can afford this right now?
It's a PS.
I know.
No, we can't afford it right now. As a matter of fact, I think the store is still open. So I'll take it back. You wanna ride with me?
Sure. Thank you. Now listen, no. I know you're doing the best you can to help provide for us. I appreciate it, okay? And listen, and when our hours pick back up, we can try and get it for you. But even if mine pick up first, I'll try and get it for you, okay?
Alright.
Come here, come on.
I'm gonna finish this game first.
All right, you can go ahead, finish the game.
That's why I love you, girl.
I love you.
Cause you're a real one.
You know.
Yeah, see, this is what we call the fair fight and do's. If you paid attention, she listened, he listened. They took responsibility for their actions. There was no name calling. They stuck to the subject at hand and they got through it. They came up with a solution, they negotiated, and now everybody's happy. And he stayed in his evolved brain. See, that's how you deal with conflict. So, this is what I want y'all to do. I encourage you to do 3 things off the do list. And I encourage you, on a don't list, you want to get these things out your life. And when you do these things, your life will be much easier. Once again, I'm Andrew Gardner, founder of Brothers Like Me. I'm a certified anger management specialist.
I also wanted to ask you, though, about your personal story, because another unique part of your program is how transparent you are. You talked already some about growing up, experiencing, your parents fighting. And I know that you talk about your personal life so that people in the workshops know that you're not preaching at them. What do you want to let everybody know adds to your school learning? What is it about your personal story that you tell others during your workshops? What have you experienced, and what do you want to share about that?
Well, I tell my story because it's a story that we can relate to. You just talk about it in general. Just like a lot of people grew up in a household with domestic violence. Seeing their mom and dad argue and not really talking about it. And then later on in their life, when they get into relationships, they handle it the same way that their mom and dad did because they didn't learn to do better. So I share that story, just to get an understanding of where I'm coming from and how I'm trying to help you. And you're not looking at me like I'm a person that's trying to lecture you and judge you or don't have no experience in what I'm talking about when I'm teaching.
Absolutely.
And then I have my theater background, which I've got from Delaware County Community College. I did a few semesters at Temple University. And then I have my certifications through the National Anger Management Association. So I just combine everything and just give you a good program that, that helps, because everybody likes a good movie, a good show.
Absolutely.
So if you get educated while watching the show, it's like, it's a win-win for both people.
Absolutely. Now, who is an anger management specialist or expert whose work you incorporate the ideas of?
It's a guy by the name of Dr. Christian Connie. When I was going through my anger management and when I was in the programs, they would show like a lot of his videos on YouTube. And I don't know his personal story, but I do know, I believe he was based in Pennsylvania, but I think he lives over in LA now. But I like his videos because he did storytelling. He did like a lot of storytelling, and he connected the dots with anger management, how to work through anger with the stories. He told stories about like the Buddha and the monk and all that. So I definitely liked his approach.
In terms of books you've read, we've talked a number of times, and you mentioned that Malcolm X has a story that's influenced you. We don't have much time left, but in a few moments, can you just share what was impactful about hearing Malcolm X's story, and what impression has that left on you?
I like Malcolm X's story because he went from Detroit Red to Malcolm X. He went to jail, he got a second chance, and he made the best out of it. So he didn't get hung up like, oh, I went to jail, now my life is over. Because some people think when they go to jail, that's it for them. It's nothing, like they can't get out of jail and they can't do nothing. So that's why I really like Malcolm X's story, because, he went to jail, when he got out, became Malcolm X. And he just left his imprint on the world like forever. And he was very disciplined, and I respect that a lot.
That's awesome. Well, I know that you'll continue to do this work in Greater Philadelphia, but specifically, you won a Pennsylvania Council on the Arts grant for an Arts Against Anger project that you're going to be doing in Ardmore and the surrounding area. And I just wanted to commend you and say, I hope that what you're doing finds other supporters and other collaborators. I know that if the governor's office and the Council on the Arts is awarding this program, it's a valuable one for the state and for the city. And I know that I haven't seen very many programs where the creator is as transparent as you, as creative as you, and as learned as you. And so I just want to give you major applause and encourage you to keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
And we're going to keep talking. I'm sure I'll have you back, but I want everyone to know that if you want to get information about Drew, you can go to For Brothers Like Me. What's the whole website?
Well, it's brotherslikeme.org.
And you can watch this program Thank you so much to Mainline 21. Again, I'm Elbrud Jones, and this has been Men on the Main Line. Have a great rest of the week.